Mr. Chairman, sir, I thought that the mover of this resolution, who is a sincere participant in the Panchayat Raj movement and who has been evincing a keen interest in the working of the same, would throw some light on the present day functioning of these bodies and give his valuable suggestions to improve the situation. But nothing of that kind was there in his speech. I was really disappointed that instead of giving his own personal impressions about the working of the scheme with which he is closely associated, he took the precious time of this house in quoting extracts. Not having gone through these extracts in entirety, I am not in a position to say whether any specific importance should be attached to these or not. On the whole, he has presented a lackluster picture and has tried to generalize the situation. India is known for the working of its panchayats. In fact, we had our local governments and similar other bodies in the villages much before such a system was known anywhere in the world. That is exactly the reason why our country is described as the mother of democracy. The very well laid out village administration was very effective even when large parts of the country were overrun by foreign rulers. The foreign invaders were unable to reach and destroy the Indian cultural life pattern as existed in the vast number of villages in the country due to the power yielded by panchayats. They were therefore described as small republics. They had all the functions and powers of a small republic, and the villagers did not feel that they were very much under the control of a government at the center. Later, the British thought of establishing a strong central government and to rule the people directly through their agents. Therefore, all these local bodies were superseded and they tried to administer the villages through officials. Since then, we find that the village panchayats, which had worked so beautifully and impressively for thousands of years, disappeared. Afterwards, some of the Indian states tried to revive them, but in vain. After independence, it was decided that the panchayat system should be given a new lease of life. A number of laws began to be passed to strengthen it in different parts of the country. In fact, the directive principles enshrined in the constitution also laid down that the government should strive to strengthen local self-government bodies. In spite of all that, the actual position is that the Panchayat Raj system today in most of the states is no better than it was earlier. We find that majority of them are proving ineffective. This house is aware that an expert committee was appointed to go into these affairs. This committee, which went into the issue in greater depth, attributed the failure to a number of causes. One of them is that proper trust is not put in the persons who are elected to these bodies. A man who is elected to the state assembly or parliament, whether he is literate or illiterate, rich or poor, he is eligible to be appointed as a minister. They are given all powers in regard to the life and death of the people. When it comes to the question of village panchayats, it is said that the people elected to these bodies lack proper training. Is there any training to the members of assembly and parliament? They get trained automatically. Why should you think of training these people who are elected to these bodies? Unless you trust them and give them every scope to work in the villages, they cannot work effectively. As it is, they are given very few powers, and those powers are really exercised by men who are residing in towns and who know nothing about the villages but go about as if they are the men who know everything about villages. The most important point that has to be borne in mind is that unless you repose confidence in them, these bodies will not give their best. The second reason why they are not effective is that they have no finances. The expert committee which went into the working of these bodies also expressed the same opinion. Panchayats cannot do anything worthwhile when their financial position is precarious. If they are to be made really operative, adequate resources should be guaranteed to them. They should have fixed share in the state revenues. In addition to that, some subjects should be earmarked exclusively for these bodies. Only then they will have assured income and they will use that money for the welfare of the villagers. The other reason for the poor performance of these bodies is factionalism. The honorable members who spoke just before me have also stated that there are lots of quarrels in these bodies. They are bound to be there if they are run on the same lines as they are run at present. If the elections are held on party lines, it will automatically result in many troubles. If these bodies are to be really useful, we must root out factionalism completely. The only way to improve the functioning of these bodies is to encourage unanimous elections. Actually, if panchayats are to be factional, we must see that only the people who enjoy the confidence of the entire village are elected. I am of the firm opinion that unanimously elected people alone can have that moral and social standing to do something concrete for development of their village. In the ancient times, our village panchayats worked on sound lines because the person at the helm of affairs was one who enjoyed the confidence of all the people in the village. He received respect from all sections of the people and therefore he could do something tangible. The present system of functioning of these bodies is not conducive to the development of villages. If the government feels that they should be really useful, some radical changes should be brought about in the system of elections to these bodies. I would request the Honorable Minister to look into these issues and see that they are given due consideration so as to improve the working of local self-government bodies. Thank you.